Hey everyone, Alexa here from Exile Entertainment. In this video, I'm going to tell you how you can get your film into a major international film festival. Now, before I dive in and get started with the goods, I want to let you know that spots are available for our Producing Accelerator program, where we work with filmmakers and help them get their films financed, produced, submitted to festivals, and attach distributors to their project. So if you're interested in learning more about that program, stick around until the end of this video. And for the best filmmaking advice, make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit the bell to be notified when we post a video. Now, just to give you a brief background here about how I can actually give you advice on this subject matter. In 2017, I set out to make my second independent feature film, a film called West of Sunshine. And we took that film from an outline to being in production within 3 months, and then only 7 months later, standing at the premiere of that film at the Venice Film Festival. So in this video, I'm going to take you through the lessons that I learned producing that film, and I'm going to give you some tips about how you can follow that path to get your film selected into a major festival. The very first thing that you need to do is believe that you can get the film into a major international film festival. Now, I know that sounds corny but it's true. If you don't have that belief, if you don't start out on this path, on this endeavor, on this project with a deep belief that you can get the film into a major festival, then it's going to be very hard for you to achieve it. So the very first step is really having that deep belief. What you need to do is you need to cultivate that level of belief. You need to start working on the correct mindset that you can have to allow you to get the film into production and into that major festival. So one thing that's really useful to do this is visualization. So start having a think about the process and what it's going to look like the whole way through, all the way from the inception of the idea to you standing at the premiere of the film at that major festival, and then actually believe that you can achieve it. So that's the first step to making this happen. The next thing that you want to do is to start taking action immediately. So you can believe and think all you want, but if you don't start taking action, then nothing's going to happen and you're not going to get the film into that festival. Now, the best way to start taking action today is to just sit down and look at where you're at right now with the project. Like, what is today's date? And then have a look at the next 6 to 12 months ahead of you and start to write down each of the submission deadlines for the top 5 or 6 major international festivals. So write each of those submission dates down, and then what you want to do is reverse engineer the process from delivering your film to that festival all the way to the date that you're at today, and have a look at which of those major festivals you can target. So you want to look at how long it's going to take you to get through development, financing, production, post, delivery, and then to the festival. Now, if you don't know how long it's going to take for certain times, for certain stages of production, then the best thing that you can do is just allocate time and then make sure that you hit that deadline. So that's the best way to start taking action on the project today to get it into a major festival. The next thing that you can do is actually tell your team that that's the timeline that you're working on. Ask them whether they're going to get on board the project. And when I say team, you can confine this to your core team. So the real key collaborators, the key creatives that you're going to be working with. So now not only do you believe that you're going to get it in, you're starting to take action and you're starting to plan to get it in, and you're telling other people about your intention to get the film into the major festival. The next one is to focus on the story and the script, because nothing is more important than that. It doesn't matter what your budget is. It doesn't matter what the production values look like. It doesn't matter, how many private investors you are able to bring on board. Doesn't matter which distributors or sales agents have come on board the project. Everything starts with the story. So you absolutely have to spend the time getting it right, and you have to make sure that you're doing everything within your power to make sure that that screenplay is the absolute best that it can be. So with the film West of Sunshine, while we went through a very quick development period, it was a very intense development period, and the writer-director was working on that screenplay every single day for a 3-month period. Now, not everyone might be able to do this, but you might be able to carve out some time every day or sometime every week to work on that consistently. And that's really what you should be doing on the project, and focusing on how you can make the script the best that it can be. So on that film, West of Sunshine, our production budget for that film was way under $100,000. It was an extremely low production budget, but we were able to create a really high quality film because the script, the story, was solid. The work had gone into making it solid, and that allowed us to really make the most of the screenplay that we had and the material that we had. Now, of course, there were some other things that were important for that particular project. The first one was that we self-financed a decent portion of the budget. The reason that we did that is because we wanted to get the film into production in a short period of time. So we didn't want to spend months and months raising finance. We did raise some outside finance, but the majority of that was self-financed. The other reason that it was possible is because we had an amazing cast and crew who were willing to work on the film at reduced or deferred rates. So, that was absolutely vital to us being able to pull the film off from a practical point of view. But the reason that it got into Venice was because of the story and because of the screenplay, and because we were then able to execute the film, get that project in front of the selectors of the festival. The next thing that you need to do is you need to take risks in order to get a film into a major festival. So you can't just look like another cookie cutter film, especially when you're competing with established filmmakers who almost have a right to be at that festival. If they've played at that festival many times and they're established, then they're often favored by that festival, but you're competing with those filmmakers. So you need to take risks. You need to take risks creatively. You need to take risks logistically, like with the actual making of the film. You also need to take risks financially, and I'm going to chat about that more in this video. But the key thing that you need to keep in mind with getting your project into a major international festival is you have to take risks. You have to stand out from the crowd. And so make sure at every stage, the creative stage, the logistical stage, the financial stage, you're taking risks and you're backing yourself, you're backing your belief, and you're giving yourself and the project that chance to stand apart from the pack. The next thing that you need to do, or that I believe that you need to do, is you need to have skin in the game. And I'm not just talking about putting your time into making this film. I'm talking about putting your hard-earned cash into the film, whether it's through investing in things or directly that are going to help you make the film, or investing in the actual film itself. If you're not doing those things, my view is that you're not going to have that drive and that commitment to the project, and really that risk that is going to make you perform at the highest level possible. So having skin in the game, and I think having the skin in the game financially, in my view, is extremely important when it comes to getting that film into a major festival, because no one is going to be as driven as you on the project. But if you're risking real things on the project, real cash, then you're going to work hard. You're going to make sure that you're doing everything that you can to make that film the absolute best that it can be. A really important hack for getting your film into a major festival is to submit a picture lock of the film. And the reason that you want to do this is twofold. Number one is that festivals will accept a picture lock film. So you can absolutely submit that to the festival, and you can just notify them that it is a picture lock, that the rest of the post hasn't been completed. You can include temp music in there as well. So that's the first reason, because you can actually do it. The second one is, if you have a picture lock of a film and there's a festival deadline coming up, like a major festival deadline, and you don't submit that project, then you've missed that festival for the whole year. You've got to wait another 12 months for that festival to come around. And so you want to kind of play the odds a bit. So the more festivals that you can actually submit to, the more chance that you have of getting in, and especially when the film is fresh. So as soon as you get to that picture lock, that's the point that you want to start submitting the film to those major international festivals. And that's absolutely what we did on West of Sunshine. Once the film was picture locked, we submitted it. It was actually selected on that version of the film, and then as a result of that, we were able to raise more finance for the project to finish post-production. In this case, we had a way to do it anyway, but this allowed us to get much better suppliers on, was really able to finish the film at a high level. The funding came from the Australian federal government, so our funding body here, Screen Australia. We also received some marketing funds from our state agency, which was Film Victoria. That all came, once we were able to picture lock the film, get the film into Venice, and then secure that funding. So if we hadn't submitted that picture lock version, we never would have got into Venice, and I wouldn't be doing this video right now telling you about that experience. So it's really important that you factor that into your timeline, your production schedule, and you get on the front foot with submitting that project at that time. The next thing that's really important to do is to try and get the film onto a selector's radar. Now, it's easier said than done. In the case of West of Sunshine, we were lucky because Screen Australia, the federal funding agency, actually brings out the selectors of certain festivals to watch films and to then see if they want to pick any of those films. So they fly them out to Sydney, they watch the films, and then certain films are selected from there, if any. Now, in this case, whilst I didn't know that happened, what I did when we were in the edit was actually start to have a look at festivals, and from there I somehow came across the fact that that's something that Screen Australia did, and then from there I reached out to them, and so that meant that a selector was actually watching our film. And so this is important, but if you don't live in Australia and there's no federal funding agency, well, firstly, that's fine. What you need to be doing is trying to have a think about how you can put the film on a selector's radar, whether that's through an introduction through someone else, whether that's just through searching online and trying to find that person's contact details and reaching out to them. It's important that you try and do it. However, it's not fatal to your project if you don't do this. So don't think that the only way that you can get into a major festival is only by getting a selector to contact a selector. Because if your film is good enough, again, it is going to stand out from the pack. So it's a tip that I absolutely recommend. If you can do it, but it's also not going to be absolutely fatal to your project. And once your film gets selected, if you haven't attached a sales agent or a distributor to the project, then now's the time to do it. So as soon as you get the film selected, you want to go out, attach a sales agent as your first priority, attach a local distributor as your second priority. Ideally, go into that festival with that distribution in place. Once the film premieres and hopefully there is there's critical response to the project, then those sales agents are ready to start selling the film. And so that's something that I highly recommend for anyone that does get their film selected to a major international festival. It's to go in there with a sales agent, go in there ready, so that if any buyers are interested, those deals can happen immediately. And a sales agent is really useful because they know the markets, they know how much films are worth at that certain time, they know all the main players in the industry, all the buyers, and so they're going to be able to get you the best deal for the project. And this is something that I learned the hard way by not attaching a sales agent to my film. And so whilst I was able to make some deals to distributors around the world, looking back, having a sales agent going into that festival could have allowed us to achieve more sales. So it's really important that you do that if you do get selected. Okay, so that's it for this video. If you liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and leave your comments in the comments section below. Let me know if you have any other tips for getting your film into a major festival, or if you have any follow-up questions from me about how we were able to get our film West of Sunshine into Venice. I mentioned earlier in this video that we run a producing accelerator program that gives filmmakers a blueprint, a roadmap to getting their film financed, produced, and ideally, hopefully, into a major film festival, and from there distributed. So if you're interested in learning more about that program and how we work, check out the link in the description below. You'll be able to also set up a time for either me or a member of my team to go through your project with you in detail and to see if it's a good fit for the accelerator. And don't forget to check out these videos next on how to up your filmmaking game.